I'm Sue Curlett, and I'm joined today by John Smith out of our Columbia office.
How
Hey,
you guys
John, how
doing?
you doing? So today
Awesome.
our topic is going to be real estate etiquette 101, right? We're going to
Yep.
bring you the down and dirty on real estate etiquette and what you should and what you shouldn't be doing. Sellers,
Right.
it is only appropriate that you put away your jewelry, any guns, any weapons,
Oh yeah.
any knives that are like hanging up. Let's put them away. The buyers are going to look in your kitchen drawers because they're going to be their kitchen drawers. And that's the thing to keep in mind,
Yeah.
that buyers, when they're going through your house, we are not HGTV. We are telling you what actually happens. I love that
Right.
show. Um, oh my gosh, it's not Love It or List It, but you see it all the time on these like beachfront rental or beachfront homes, or I don't even know. You can any
Yeah.
HGTV. Yeah,
I know what you're
where
talking
the
about.
the door is open, right? First of all, the door is open. The agent says, "I'll be out here waiting for you." Right? Like, that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen with my buyers. You know what I mean? Understand, buyers, that
It
we're
doesn't
not going to
happen.
open the door and tell you to go run rampant in somebody's house that's living there, right? I mean,
Oh no.
we have a responsibility to the seller as much as we do to you. um Maybe more
Yeah.
so when we're showing their home. They're giving us an opportunity to go in there, and I'll share a story here in a minute, but when you
Well, the only reason that show does that is because it's too many people in the room with the camera
right,
crew. That's
the
why they
agent
do it.
normally,
They don't have
yeah,
room
the
for an
agent
agent.
normally is walking through with you for your safety, for the
Yeah.
safety of the property, and for the seller's peace of mind to know that somebody is not in their master bedroom by themselves. It's just not appropriate. It's not. If
No.
the house
No.
is empty, it might be one thing. I mean, when we're doing an open house, we usually have more than one agent there so that, people can walk around with the people that are coming in. That is a time where you will have random people walking around your house. You just can't get away with it. Get away from it.
Open
Open
houses. Open
houses.
houses. So one thing that the pandemic did do is most of the showings that we go
Yeah.
to, Sue, we're allotted a certain amount of time. In my listings, I do
Yeah.
30-minute intervals because, and now obviously if it was a 6,800 square foot house, I couldn't
Right,
do
right.
30-minute intervals. But in most showings, 30 minutes is plenty enough time to go through the house
Yeah.
once or twice. You may go quick the first time, and then you may say, well, let me go downstairs and look at the furnace. Let me go downstairs and
Right.
look at the water heater. Or is it on
Yeah.
well and septic? Or, whatever the deal is. But 30 minutes is usually
So,
enough
and
time. And as agents, we can see, like, if I'm scheduling for like a
yeah.
1 to 1:30, but I can see when I schedule in the morning that the 1 to 1:30, then the next showing is at 4 o'clock. Generally, I'm not going to push my people out the door at
Yeah.
right in 30 minutes, right? We may move our way
Right.
to the front door, and if somebody shows up,
Yeah.
we move outside. Nowadays they have, and in Maryland, you're not supposed to use
Right.
audio, but we have to warn our buyers, like,
Keep it on the
don't
down low.
have
Right.
discussions inside the
Yeah.
house. We'll save
Yeah.
those for outside.
So while we're talking
You know,
about that, sellers understand that when these buyers are coming to your home, most of the time they're looking at more than one house. So that window of opportunity that John's talking about, that 30 minutes, if we're scheduled to be there from 4 to 4:45, right? Like I do 45-minute intervals. So and I think a lot of people do.
it's
So
fine.
30 to 45 minutes is very normal. Um,
Yep.
if I'm supposed to be there from 4 to 4:45, I might not get there till 4:30 because, just like a doctor's office, we're backed up. There might have been somebody in the house that we saw before that we had to wait for them to come out.
Right.
There may
Yep.
be,
Yep.
so that window is not just for your viewing, it's also for you getting there, getting in. There might be some run
Yeah.
over. If somebody shows up while there's still somebody showing it, then it's appropriate for the realtor to say to the other buyer's agent, we got here a little bit behind. Are you okay if we're downstairs and you're upstairs? Then that agent is going to
Right.
take their client and they're going to separate a little bit. It's respectful. It's how we work
Yep.
together. It's one of the things that you'll find happens. Here's what you should
Yep.
not do, buyers. Your children should not be in a separate area than you are. Your kids should not be
No.
downstairs in the basement while you're upstairs in the master bedroom. Things get
Yep.
broken,
No.
things get damaged.
Yep.
We, as a buyer's agent, are then going to be put in a situation where we have to call the listing agent and say, hey, look, they let their kids run around the house. They broke a toy of your kids. And does your can you talk to your seller and see if they would like some compensation for that toy? We are then paying the seller because the lockbox on the front door has your agent's code in it for them to come in the door, right? Like there's no hiding
Right.
that we were the ones there and that this probably happened during our showing. So,
Right.
quality agents are going to own that.
I get it. I get it. I get it. You picked up your kids
They're wired.
after
Yep.
school, after work, and your spouse, and you're jamming a showing in. I mean, I've had situations where one of the parties will stay outside with the children, let them
Yeah.
exhaust some energy, go through with party A, turn around, go through with party B, then have the conversation outside. We all know. I have children; they're all adults now, thank God.
They
But
survive.
we all know the capabilities of our
Oh my gosh.
children
Here's
from get go. We know
here's
it from
something that
Jump
happened
Street.
to me
You know
2
exactly.
weeks ago, John.
You
If
know
that, 2 weeks,
exactly what
last week, whatever, just happened to me. One of my buyers has an amazingly active kid. Okay. Like great kid, very polite, very appropriate, but God, energy. I mean, this kid's got so much energy. He's like
Yeah.
the Energizer bunny, right? So the parents
Yeah.
say, look, go outside, go play outside. They had a big fenced in backyard. He's 7 or 8 years old. Well, they had a koi pond.
Mhm.
Little did we know, he's
Oh,
taking the
dad.
stones from the driveway and like throwing them into the koi pond. Well, the sellers are sitting in the RV that's in the driveway without us knowing it. We have no idea that the sellers are sitting in the RV. I can't make this up. This is real stories. The agent's calling my cell phone. I'm excusing myself because, I don't like to answer my phone. So I'm excusing myself and I'm like, hey, and she's like, look, you're in their house. They're in the RV outside and the kid's throwing rocks into the koi pond. Can you get their kid? That the sellers are livid. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
So I go to my buyers whom, they literally put their kid outside because they don't want them to touch anything in the house. So they have to go outside and they're like, yelling at their kid to come in and then he's got to stand next to him. And thank God they're reasonable people and they brought him in and, it's just uncomfortable for
Yeah.
everyone. So Ethics 101,
It's hard.
right. If you have to
It's
bring your
hard.
child,
It's hard.
have the conversation with your kid before you come in the house. It's not our house. We're not touching their stuff. You're
Right.
staying with me. And I've taken my kids when they were little with me, but I had this like look. I had the mom look and I could give it, and my kids knew the look. I never had to lay a hand on my kids because I
Yeah.
could look at them and they'd be like, oh, okay, we're gonna stop. I mean,
Yeah. We end up helping a lot of single
100%.
parents, and it's tough. Single parents
Right.
got
One
it
of the reasons
tough
we're doing this podcast,
because
is because we want you to know that we're here for you. I mean, a lot of people might
Yeah.
think that we're doing this so that we can get business and we can get buyers and sellers. We're only licensed in Maryland. I'm licensed in Maryland, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina.
I'm
John's
only in
only in
Maryland.
Maryland. So,
I'm only in Maryland. I
right,
got
this
enough on
is
my hand.
more about helping the next person and more about sharing our experiences
Yeah.
and asking you guys to share yours.
For sharing.
The more
For sharing.
people
It's not a perfect world. It's
100%.
selling. Listen, if you think selling real estate is opening doors and doing home tours, you're
Listen to the
sorely
podcast,
mistaken.
right?
We're
Yeah.
firefighters. We are
Right?
firefighters, and we're really bad about explaining to our clients what exactly I had
Yeah.
to undertake to unravel that
Right.
situation because I got three more fires to fight after I
You
put your
know, one
fire
of
out.
my
So we don't stop and say, hey, here's what I had to do to fix this
yeah.
problem
I
for
mean,
you.
I value kindness. Like I think that if you asked any of my kids, if there's one word your mom says over and over and over and over again, it's kindness. I mean, I cannot believe the world we live in and the environments that our kids are growing up in, and I don't think we have enough kindness. So this podcast is to help. That's what it is for. It's just to help.
There's not
There's not
enough
enough
kindness.
kindness.
It's
Right.
amazing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we now live in a day and age where everybody's got a camera
100%.
phone. And people, I mean, I see stuff posted all the time where,
Mhm.
hey, listen, I was a boy, I went to middle
Yeah.
school and high school. That boys,
Yeah.
they fight. They fight. But, nowadays it's like instead of like going and helping your friend and saying, guys, come
Yeah.
on, stop, stop, stop. Now you're filming it and you can hear them
It's
cheering in the
sick. I mean,
background.
it's really we
It's yeah,
we need to change that, realtors. So if you're listening to this and
yeah,
you're a realtor,
yeah,
we're not against you. I mean, hear us. We're not against you. We're actually trying to help
yeah,
you. And there's going to
yeah,
be a little surprise coming very soon that's going to help you a lot. I mean, oh, I sound like Joe Biden.
yeah.
A lot. Did you hear me? Like,
you
we're going to
know,
help you a lot. Anyway,
it did. There can't be
no, there's
enough
not
kindness.
enough.
And real estate,
Yeah,
really, and I don't know of any other industry, but in real estate, we have a code of
absolutely.
conduct. And that code of conduct talks about how we must treat our clients, you know, honesty, fairness, accountability, responsibility,
Yeah,
confidentiality. But it also spells out how we treat
right,
each other,
right.
right? And really, we, there needs to be more kindness in the world, but in real estate, you know, remember that there's somebody out there who's representing a seller or a buyer, and think how, I mean, the people in the
Right?
RV,
I mean, they were sitting
I
there.
I know they
They
wanted to
had
bang
to
on the
sit there
glass.
and watch this kid take the stones off their driveway and throw them into the koi pond that they probably just spent hours getting. I mean, this thing looked really nice, John. It had like stones all around it. So I can understand how the sellers like just beside themselves. On the flip side, my buyers are trying so hard with their child to keep them in line that they saw a backyard that was fenced in and they're like, go play. Now, I mean, so
Right.
you got to be able to see both sides of the coin, right? And to be
Yeah,
able to go,
yeah,
you know what, at least they put him outside. On the same side, I mean, you got to
right.
keep your kid with you because you don't know what they're doing outside. So it's a mess, right?
Well,
It's a
yes.
mess when you take your kids. If you have to take your kids, that's what this podcast is about. Like, we're going to tell you that it is appropriate for you to have your child with you, right, John? I mean, it's
Yeah,
appropriate to have your
yeah.
child with you. It's appropriate if you have to pick them up and carry them in your arm, whatever you got to do. We
So
we're just letting you
go ahead.
know that you're putting the agent especially in a bad situation if you're not controlling your children when they're in the house. Yes.
So Sue, as young
Yeah.
parents, when we were
Been there.
parents, we had a rule. We had a rule when we
Yeah.
had to the
Yeah, my
store.
mom used to say
I'm
hands in
just
your pockets. Like I used to have to walk through the store with my hands in my pockets because and
right.
then I'd be like using my elbows. Can I have that? Can I have that? Like I wanted
Yeah,
everything. So I don't blame
yeah.
her because
No.
I'm a toucher. Even now I'm a toucher. Like I'm touching everything. So um we're gonna I'm gonna
Well,
probably have
it,
to, like, we can talk about anything right now because chances are I'm going to be editing out this section because there's a car in my driveway. So the dogs were kind of okay, but fair warning, fair
Right.
warning.
So
Yeah,
anyway, it's just we feel you when
yeah,
your kids have to come. We're just telling you that if in a hot
yes,
minute,
it can
something
happen.
bad can happen, something
Yes.
can get broken. It's not the
And don't
intention
get
of the
mad,
child.
right?
It's
Don't get
just,
upset with your realtor buyers if your realtor's like, "I'm sorry, but your children need to stay with you," because they have a responsibility legally and ethically to the seller that's allowing them to see your property. Um,
come on, we've all taken our kids to a hotel room at
yeah,
the beach or wherever, and you a room, and in 20 seconds, maybe
yeah,
less, you turn around and where are your kids?
yeah,
Jumping on the bed. I'm like, have you
right.
lost your mind? Because I'll make you sleep all week on the
Right.
floor.
It's like, John, as a parent, you're in the closet. No, I'm kidding. You're sleeping
Yo,
in the
you're on the
bathtub.
floor.
I Right.
Enjoy the floor.
We
Enjoy the
don't want to
floor.
be mean. We're being very frank and we're being very honest because your agents can drive you to this podcast and they don't have to tell you themselves. So buyers, like, hear us. You know what I mean? Like, hear us. Sellers, hear us.
Yeah.
Another thing for sellers, understand that if you have a weapon that's out, you can't do that,
No,
right? Like, you can't leave
no.
something that's gonna be dangerous for your buyers to see out. If you have money, I mean, I've gone into properties, John, where there's $2 sitting on the table and people are leaving their money there thinking the best of people, I would hope, or trying to see who takes it, one or the
Right,
other. Like, put your money away, put your jewelry
right.
away. I would prefer that my
Right.
sellers actually lock up anything that is going to be too challenging for a buyer to take. You know what I mean? We can only be there beside them. We can't guarantee that nobody's going to take anything. Luckily, knock on wood, in 20 years, I have never had anything missing from any of my buyers. But
Right.
I've heard stories. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Have you ever had an incident, John, where something's come up missing or something?
Mm,
I
not that's
haven't.
been
Yeah.
brought to my direct attention. I think we've all had a situation where we finally get out front and the lockbox gets locked up, and the child of the buyer puts their hand out, and there's like a
Yeah. And you're
Lego
running it back in
man,
saying that's not yours or whatever. Yeah.
and you're like,
Innocent. Yeah.
oh, let me
Innocent
put that
stuff.
back. But I mean, it's nothing's been brought to
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
attention.
Now, one of the things
So
that can happen is also that buyers that we don't know, right? Maybe it's the first time that we're showing them the house. They could come back, right? I mean, there's reasons that you have a real estate lockbox. There's reasons that you don't share your combos. There are agents out there, and I know one of them because when my husband and I bought my first house, I wasn't a realtor. And when we bought our first house, I called a guy who is a very, very big numbered agent. And he said, "Well, you sound like a nice couple." I never met the guy, John. He was like, "You sound like a nice couple. Go ahead and look. Here's the combo." The man shouldn't be licensed. All
nah,
right.
nah,
He should not be licensed, but
no,
that happened. So
no.
if you're right.
That's enough. More than likely, the person who's doing that is also showing
Oh,
houses in coming
absolutely.
soon. And I tell you how it happens. I tell you how it happens. So we
Yeah.
list a coming soon, HomeSmart,
Yeah.
you or me, whoever at HomeSmart, right? And we tell a coworker, right, another agent, hey, I got a property. I have a property.
Coming on next Friday.
I have a property coming on in
Yep.
College Park, right? Oh man, I want to see that. Hey, I can't
Yeah.
let you in, right? And then they go back and forth. Just let me show it.
Right.
Nobody will know. Well, that's the same people that are probably
Yeah.
handing out the
Exactly.
code. And here's the thing. Nobody will know. That's
Yep.
horse hockey because no There are so many part-time agents,
100%. Yes.
thousands. All it takes is an agent on the street to take a picture, and you got to love these people. They got one of those magnetic signs on the side
Yeah.
of their car, right? Says Jackie Jones, blah, 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 right? They take a picture of that, right? They got nothing to do. They're angry because they got no business. And so they send that off in a complaint to
Yeah.
the
It's
commission.
very important.
Just
It's
don't do
very
it.
important to understand that when your listing agent is setting everything up for you, right? One of the things that they're doing is they're getting your house ready. So if you go coming soon, for, like John's saying, then you have to understand that when you as a buyer say to your agent, I'm going to get in that house. I want to see that house. You know, you need to get me into that house. You are asking your realtor to violate their license, their code of ethics, everything. You're asking them to put their license on the line. So when they say, sorry, I can't, remember they're following the rules. Now, that might not be attractive to you in this market. You might be like, I want the agent that doesn't really care, that's going to go out and get me into that house, you know, regardless of the situation. But do you really? Is that the agent you want? Because that agent, if they're going to break that rule, they're
Right.
going to break a bunch of other ones. Um, you know, there are rules and regulations for a reason, just like there are anything else. And you want fair market value if you're the seller. You want to have 10 people have the opportunity to come in and bid on your house. Why are you going to take one before
Yeah.
it's even on the market? It doesn't make any sense.
For a myriad of reasons. People have their own
I get it.
reasons.
I mean, I get it. Maybe you don't want
People
anybody
have
in
their
your
own
house,
reasons.
period. So you want the first offer that comes along, even if it's less. What I don't know what your
Yeah.
reason is, right? Like I know that it's kind of like the casino, which
Well,
is why
so
you can, right,
bet at
which
my
is
house.
why as a seller you can be very specific to buyer's agents. You know, buyer's agent, please stay with your client by saying what really bothers you, right? By saying, hey, look, this is a problem for me. That agent has agent remarks, right? And I have shown my buyers agent remarks time and time again, where there's something specific for me that they're not going to see publicly, but it might say in the remarks, you know, seller would prefer that you stay with the buyer all the time. Please make sure you do so. So I can show my buyer, look, you know, this seller is very concerned about his house. Can we please stay together so that we're respectful of this? Buyers are going to understand. So, you know, I mean, just kind of the more you say, the better off you're going to be. Ethically, buyers, what we're saying to you is it's respectful to stay with your agent. They're going to walk you through the house. When they
Yeah.
move out of that room or when you move out of that room, you're supposed to be doing so together. Um, you know, if one of you, like, let's talk about using the restroom. Sellers,
Bad photos, crappy condition, wrong price. Those are all the things that are squeezed
yeah,
out on the toothpaste on the counter. Toothpaste doesn't
no,
go back in the tube. I can't reset the pictures. They're
right.
on the internet. I can't reset the condition. I
And we
can't
can't
reset the
unbreak the
price.
bed that your kid jumped on, and we can't unbreak the toy that your kid broke. I mean, you know, I'm not saying that your kids need to like hold your hand and be in the proper manner. You know what I mean? They're kids,
Look, they're kids. We all
but
get it. They're kids. I try to help out sometimes,
be
keep
a
them
parent, right?
distracted while
Be a
the
parent.
parents
If
are
you got to
looking.
take your kids, watch your kids, keep them with you, and ask them to act
Yeah,
the same way they would if somebody came into your home. Because that's what you're doing. You're literally in somebody's residence, where they live, where they sleep, where they eat, where they
it's
pray,
exciting
whatever.
for them. It's exciting for
Yeah.
them. I'm telling you, my kids knew the rule about
Yeah.
jumping on the bed, but I swear to you, every time I open that hotel room, and I would even say,
They're
I got the key
excited. They're
card in the
excited.
door, and they're like, they're rushing me. And I said, if you jump on the bed, we're not going to the
Yeah.
boardwalk tonight. So I'm telling you straight up. And there's no warning. Your
Yeah,
warning is right
exactly.
here.
I mean,
Right? And I can tell they want to jump on that
right,
bed, but
right.
they
I
didn't.
mean, we all want to jump on the bed. I want to jump on the bed too. You know, one day I'll grow
Yeah.
up. It's not yet, but one day I'll grow up. I think that the point is, sellers, be patient too. You know what I mean? The buyers are trying. They're trying.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
agents are trying. It's not an easy transaction or transition when you're going from one house to another, especially for a child. So there's a lot of excitement involved
No.
for everyone. We work in the evenings and weekends. So if our kids wanted to spend time with us, a lot of times they were like, "Can I come?" You know what I mean? My daughter would say, "Can I come with you?"
Yeah.
And I'd be like, "Yeah, absolutely. But we're
Yeah.
showing this person a house. So when we go in there, you're going to be on your best behavior." Absolutely, mom. They
Yeah.
picked out thousands of bedrooms. They would do it. As we're walking through the house, it was almost like a game. Which bedroom in this house would be yours? And then we'd walk into that room and my daughter would be like, "This is mine. This would be mine." You know what I mean? And then my son would be like, "No, that's mine."
Yeah.
And so it was just a fun way for them to be included.
They're excited.
Yeah, they're
They're
excited.
excited.
I
I
mean,
get
and
it.
mine saw thousands of rooms and still we're picking them. So the excitement doesn't go away. Um, we get it. We absolutely get it. And nobody's going to tell you to leave your kid home. And if they do, then, call another agent because we all get it.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier
That
for listing
happens.
agents
That happens.
because they're not, or when we have a listing, they're not the ones that are um, being cheated on per se. You know what I mean? Buyer's agent,
Yeah. Right.
your buyer's agent's sick for the day. Please be kind. I mean, understand that
Yeah.
agent has shown you probably 50 houses and you're going to call somebody else because you want to see it today. You can't wait till tomorrow. If you call your buyer's agent that's sick and say, um, I need to see this house today, go ahead. If you feel like a jerk for doing it, just do it anyway, because you're not cheating if you ask that agent to have somebody else show up. If I'm sick and I'm like, I can't go, I'll call John and say, "John, step in for me, please, man. I'm sick today."
Yeah.
John
Yeah.
will go and vice versa. So
Yeah.
we have backup. If you must see the
We
house
do.
that
We do.
day, we get it and we will have somebody show it to you. Don't cheat on us, right? Like just don't do that.
Right. I think the other thing too is, and I
Just don't do
agree,
it.
don't do it.
Yeah.
We're all adults and we can all say, this happened or that happened. But I find that in the market where some clients we've written maybe 6 or 8
Yeah.
offers for, they're just looking for anything to
Yeah.
grasp. It may change the paradigm of their
Yeah.
situation and get a house. And we just happen to be one of those
Well,
one of
and the
those
thought is
items.
if that house won't be there tomorrow. And you might be right. I mean, that house might not be there tomorrow. I've had agents that I've been really, really nice to, and then all of a sudden that agent's kind of in the driver's seat and they're trying to tell me what I'm going to do. And I have to stop them and say, "Look, I'm being kind, not stupid. So don't play me." You know what I mean? I have that
Yeah,
switch. And it's funny how
I
many
know.
times I've had to use it. And then it's a different scenario. "Oh, sorry, I didn't think you know." "No, I know, but you're doing this
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I've been doing it a long time. I'm being kind because it's the right thing to do, not because I'm
yeah,
stupid."
yeah.
So keep that in mind,
I
agents too.
I just I feel for buyers right now. They
It's very
just
hard.
don't know what to do. Honestly, I'll tell you, the world would get infinitely better for them if the feds would just go ahead and cut the half and get it out of
But
the way.
I don't want to get too
So
too far into the mortgage side of things because we're trying to do the etiquette. But um,
I
let's
understand.
go, John. Let me ask you this: top 5 buyer etiquette. Go.
Well, be loyal to your agreement, be loyal to the person because
Is
the
a
person
person,
that's
right?
showing you the houses is
Yeah,
definitely loyal to
100%.
you, right? Um, don't don't lie to your lender,
Right. They're gonna
right?
know.
And forget the
Get
pre-qualification, get
pre-approved. Yeah.
pre-approved, right? Which means that you provided W-2s, pay stubs, bank statements, transcripts, everything that you needed
Yep.
to the lender so that you have a pre-approval,
Yep.
right? which, and again, you can't lie to your lender. They're going to find out. Don't open any
Right.
new credit in the
100%.
process, and ask before you leave. So yes, we're here to be your guardian to keep you from making a mistake. I find that I hear this all the time, like, oh, well, Discover sent me a thing that said if I
Right.
went to this account that, they would lower my rate
Yeah.
2%.
It's not the time.
Wait,
Yeah.
you can wait.
Yeah.
You can
Agreed.
wait. You can wait. And other than that, enjoy it. It's an
Yeah.
exciting time.
So my top 5 for buyer etiquette are, keep in mind that, like you said, your realtor is there for you, right? Your realtor's there for you. If you're
Yeah.
not going to show up, please call them. Please let them know. There's countless times that we're sitting outside of a house waiting for our buyers to show up. So on the buyer side, please be respectful to your agent, because it's really important that you build that relationship, and that respect is mutual. Secondly, going in and looking in drawers that are not going to belong to you. The dresser is not yours. It's going with the seller. There's no reason for you to open someone's dresser. Now, if you're looking in the
No.
closet, feel free, because you're going to own that closet. You know what I mean? So keep in
Right.
mind that
Right.
somebody's living in
Right.
that house, and that your realtor's going to be very embarrassed asking you to not look in somebody's personal stuff, but they're going to do it.
Right.
Thirdly, I would say for buyers, one of the most important things for me is for that buyer to understand that it is not a gathering place for your family. If you are buying the house, it's okay if you call your agent and say, hey, look, my dad's in town. He wants to go with me. Can I bring him? Your agent's going to say, absolutely. If your dad, your cousin, your uncle, and your brother-in-law want to come, talk to your agent and make sure that you guys stay together. It's not conquer and divide when you walk into a house. The realtor is trusting that you're not going to be putting your hands on things that don't belong to you. And it's very uncomfortable for everybody included if something comes up missing, even if the seller finds it later. If you guys are on one level and somebody else is on the bottom level, and then somebody else is in the kitchen, and they have cameras in there, then they're going to know that these people are just walking around their house unaccompanied, right? So please stay together when you're looking at the property. I guess my other buyer etiquette would be, don't show up to the house without your agent because your uncle's in town and you wanted to show him, so you knocked on the door and asked the seller if you could show him the house. No, the answer is no, you can't. If you have somebody coming in from out of town, let your agent know. Never, ever, ever stalk the house or the seller. I can't tell you how many times my buyers show up in the neighborhood, introducing themselves to the neighbors. And keep in mind that your listing agent is juggling, like they're getting your house ready too. I right now have a listing that I was expecting to go on last Friday, right? There was some things that were getting, finished up, and I didn't really care. I had the photographer go in Thursday, take pictures. And I was so disappointed in the pictures that I called my seller and said, nope, we're not accepting these pictures. We're going to have them retaken, or, whatever the case is. Now, the photography company still hasn't gotten back to me today. So my call when we get off this podcast is going to be to a different photographer. I'm going to have them go out and take better pictures. It matters. When you present your property online, you get one big go, right? Like one big go. That's it. So when your agent is telling you, I'm not putting your house on the market, don't think that they're not putting it on the market because they're whistling Dixie or they're out running around. They know, your listing agent knows that when they hit active and they hit go, that all those emails to all those people out there, right, that are getting auto emailed, which is probably every buyer out there is getting auto emailed, whether it be through a company or whether it be through their agent, whoever it is that's sending them emails, that goes out one time. Right. So that listing is going to them once, and that seller or that listing agent wants it to be perfect when they hit the go button. It's just the way it is, right? Like now, when you see
Way it is.
pictures online that are trash, and this goes back to realtor etiquette, right? We were talking about in the beginning, one of the first podcasts that we did, we were talking about asking your agent for previous listings so you can look at their pictures. Don't trust them to give you a presentation that they bought from some other real estate company. Like, we can literally buy everything we need. We don't have to have those listings ourselves. So we're telling you the real story here. Make sure that that agent pulls up a listing that belonged to them, and then let them show you the pictures that they did on a previous listing. It's the only way to be sure you're not going to get these pictures that look horrible online. 90% of the traffic that's going to come into your house is going to be a buyer finding it at 3:00 in the morning. I mean, how often? And then they're going to send it to their agent and say, I want to see this one, this one, and this one.
So typically,
90%.
So yes. So the best thing that ever happened
And the
to
worst.
real estate was the invention of the website, where you can host photos of the property. Now, now it's apps.
Right.
Realtor.com, homes.com.
All those, right.
Whatever. All those. So before, we would get a printout that said this house is going to hit the market Friday. No pictures, 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. You have no idea what it is, and you'd have to get in your car and go buy it.
Agents used to do,
see
right, agents used to, I mean, and this was even when I got in 20 years ago, but agents used to have a sales meeting, and they would sit down with the other agents in their office, and they would say, okay, guys, I'm going to go active on Thursday. I'll be at the house. Please come by. And then all the agents in their office would follow. There would be like a carpool of agents to go to that property and see what that listing looked like. I haven't seen that happen in 15 years at least. It's not common anymore.
The pandemic killed that. The pandemic killed it. A lot of things positive happened with the pandemic. A lot of things negative happened. I happened to be sitting in an office where, my assistant just left, and I'm the only one here.
Everybody works from home. Nobody's really, the sales meetings, a lot of them are online. Yeah. So although we still have them, and we're still actively communicating with management and with other agents in our office, it's not normal. There's people in HomeSmart, in the DMV, right, that we don't know. Like, we might see them at award ceremonies if they're top producers. We might see them at luncheons, but a lot of the luncheons are for top producers. So the agents that are getting started, we don't even meet them. We don't know who they are. Yeah. So it's one of those things where, keep in mind.
I think that's it. I think that's it. Just everybody be kind, right? Be kind. Think of others. Hey, you're in a hurry. I know you're crunched. Right. Buyers are crunched by the fear of the new payment. Sellers are crunched because they got kids in school, kids in activities. I'm doing 13 showings on Saturday, 10 on Sunday, 6 on Monday. They're like, what the hell? And I said, I try to tell you, it's like that.
Right. I take great pride in leaving emotion out of these transactions. And I'll tell you, there's emotion involved in every one of them. So I intentionally
every single one
tell myself, Susan, do not act on emotion. And buyers and sellers, if there's anything you hear from me, do not act on emotion. Don't buy something you don't love. Don't jump. Don't say, I need this house. Stop it. Don't settle on a wife. Don't settle on a house. Don't settle on a husband. Don't settle on a house. You know what I mean? Like, there's some things we just don't settle on. I have a buyer that took 2 years that we talked about early in this morning. We went to closing on Friday. She's like family to me now. I love her. You know what I mean? And I will get, right. It's a very long journey, but she bought a house that she couldn't have dreamed of having. You know what I mean? She is so happy with her selection, and she's a single woman. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, almost $900,000. We're not talking about chump change. She bought a very expensive house in the neighborhood she wanted that had everything that she wanted, and she didn't settle. I mean, could I have had her in a townhouse for 2 years and she would have not been paying rent to somebody? Yes. But you know what? She waited it out. We got her the right house. She's going to give me every client
Yeah.
that she, or every person that ever says the word realtor to her, I know is coming to me. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
no way.
It's that's one of
It's,
the happy
yeah,
stories. I mean, we have countless
absolutely.
happy stories, but just be
Be kind.
kind,
Right.
honor your agreements,
100%.
honor your agreements. Don't talk to the other side.
Protect yourself. Like we are
Um,
telling you that you should not be communicating, regardless of how nice you are, regardless, because I guarantee you that you're not nice enough to buy something if you find out that the guy next door um, poisoned the dog. And we're in this house, and it's in Prince George's County, and it's a 900,000, 925, right? So it's a very, very nice house. And I'm standing there and the seller is there, right? The do not talk to the buyer. The seller is there. So the seller,
right.
I'm pretty white, right? Like, I mean, I've even been accused of being very white. I got blonde hair, blue eyes, and it was cute because I went to a house one time and the lady, it was a listing appointment, and the lady had her grandson there, and it was in a African American community, right? And the grandson said, "Mommy," or Nana, 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 whatever she was called. There's a really white lady at the door. Like, and the grandmother was so embarrassed. She came. She's like, "I'm so sorry. That's not how we want him to
Yeah.
talk." And she was embarrassed, and I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. And I said, "Look, I am really white. Imagine if you're not used to seeing someone with blonde hair, blue eyes. Like I
Yeah.
probably looked ghostly to this kid. You know what I mean? So it was fine. It was cute. It was whatever it was.
That's
And
so
and
funny.
we laughed about it later, and I loved sharing that story. And so then anyway, we're in this house and we're walking through, and the seller says to my buyer, "This is a completely African American community, so you don't have to worry about it." And I'm like, um, I'm really white. You don't care that I'm standing here and you're saying that this is a completely African American community? Not appropriate,
Oh,
guys. Not appropriate. I don't care, whatever, but like, no, seller, no. That we're talking about etiquette. Leave race, religion, all of it. Leave it out. It has no place in real estate. I mean, I was standing there like, should I just say something? Because wow. But I didn't. I didn't. I kept my mouth shut and I let it go. And I thought, wow, people, come on. Um, and she looked at me, and then I was like, let it go. You know what I mean?
because your opinion
It
doesn't
doesn't have
sell the
anything to do with it. You're
house.
absolutely right. And it's nice. Some
Don't be
buyers
there.
want to meet the seller and then they build this relationship and whatever. But the bottom line is that same buyer,
I
I
think the next one is going to be we're going to have an appraiser on.
yes, on will
It'll
it'll
be
be
later
later this
this week,
week
which will
and
get
then it'll
released
come
next
out
week.
next
Yep,
week. So this one will come out
it'll
this
come out
week.
next
Yep.
week.
Yep.
All
Thank
right.
you.
I mean, it was a great. It was be
Be
kind.
kind.
Be
Be
kind.
kind. That's
Be
good.
kind.
Absolutely. Please be kind to each other. And if you have any questions or
Yep.
you want to comment or add something, please reach out to us. We're happy to bring you
Please.
on. We're happy to share your comment.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Yeah. I'd like to see some agents participate. It'd be
Absolutely.
fun.
Please join us. Have a good
A
day.
great day, great week,
Be
folks.
safe.
Bye.
Bye bye.